Now the #1 cause of death in the world is non-communicable disease: heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, or trauma. This is a major change, and it requires a new type of medical system. When you add up all the numbers, the global burden of disease shows you that 2 out of 3 deaths in the world are now non-communicable diseases: heart disease, cancer, stroke, trauma, or diabetes. And almost every country in the world, these are in the top 5. So, and back in history, there was no focus on building acute care system, and in some parts of the world now, we do have a good focus on building acute care systems. There are only about 10 countries in the world that have fully developed emergency and acute care systems. There are about 30 or so other countries that are somewhere in the middle of building these systems, and then there are about 100 or more that have little to nothing in emergency and acute care systems. So I think we're in this magic period. 20 years ago, the world really didn't know how to build acute care systems on a national scale. And 20 years from now, 150 countries or more will be doing it. And we're seeing 2 or 3 more countries every year. So what we see is this is a need that is around the world. Every country has a need for emergency and acute care. It's not just the rich countries or the most populated countries. And countries have responded to this by developing the specialty of emergency. We now have over 65 countries in the world that have emergency medicine as a specialty, starting at 0 in 1968. And we have 3 or 4 more countries every year. So when we look around the world, we see that really emergency care is really a work in progress. It's begun in most places, or in some places it hasn't begun at all. When you really look at countries one by one, you get to see that there are some similarities. These developmental patterns emerge. And you can look at 2, 3, or 4 countries and think about how different they are. But when you see 30 or 40 or 50 countries develop their emergency systems, you get to see these underlying patterns there, even if certain pieces are missing. And these patterns tend to fall into this developmental stages. If you look at the countries where emergency has developed, you get to see primary stage development, secondary, and tertiary stage development. And these can be further broken down into the doctor and the nurse and the medic bit, where you have to teach doctors and nurses and caregivers, and many places where not even physicians, how to do the medical care. We also have to focus on things like specialty recognition and care systems. How do they actually deliver the care? But that's not the only thing. You also have to focus on a lot of non-medical things like administration and management and health economics and finance. And then very high-level developmental stages like legislative structures and national health policy formation. And we have good templates for how to do this country by country by country, because now there are 40 or 50 or 60 countries that have gone down this pathway. We see that it's very similar country to country, and it's only a little bit different, maybe 10, 20% different from country to country. It's more similar than it is dissimilar. And another way to look at this is, instead of as a pyramid, you look at it as a horizon down forward into the future. You can focus on short-term projects right now, medium-term projects in the medium-term, and long-term projects. But these projects all have to be started together. And in some places, emergency medicine is necessary, but they also need a lot more. Basic public health, basic food and water, basic first aid, basic nursing and pre-hospital, et cetera. So you can have the advanced emergency system put together with a basic emergency system together. That's the whole acute care system. And we really have a lot of the answers for this now. We know 80% of the answers of how to do this country by country. Each place has to reinvent the wheel, but only a little bit, only 20% or so. And we can pick and choose and borrow from our colleagues in other places. This template has been used in multiple different countries to kind of use, to assess their own stages of development. So some places might have good academic development, good administrative development, but maybe not tertiary care. So what we see happens after you build emergency medicine in a country, you have some of these ripple effects. When you have people in the hospital and in the pre-hospital and just in the medical area, not just hospital physicians, who are trained to take care of emergencies, to recognize emergencies, and to treat emergencies, well, then that makes the emergency department run better. That makes the healthcare clinics run better. But when they run better, then the hospital runs better. And when the hospital runs better, then all the hospitals run better, and that helps the whole medical system. This is healthcare system strengthening by definition. And when we see this happening country by country, we see global acute care slowly advancing. So what I'm proposing and what all of these numbers are really pointing towards is the need for one comprehensive organization that can deliver acute care emergency medicine systems development on a national or regional scale. An organization capable of multidisciplinary, full-scale acute care systems development. What would that need to look like? An organization like this. An organization that deals with foundations, but is not based at a foundation. Deals with universities, and not based at universities. Deals with health ministries, but not based at health ministries. Deals with private investors, but not based at this. So this organization is in its virtual form, and I think most of our colleagues are in agreement with the need for this type of one-stop go-to organization for comprehensive acute care development. So that's the theme that we're going to be talking about in this track for the next couple days. So I just wanted to give a broad overview of that. And again, I want to say thank you for inviting me, and thank you for responding to all the invitations to come and speak and listen. So thank you.